Kia ora and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and today's the day to get your coats out and your hats and your Mercedes jackets, because we've got none other than the executive Mercedes-Benz S Class.
That's right, the S Class is now in its 7th generation and Mercedes-Benz have upped the ante again. It's amazing. Come, let's take a look at this. The S Class actually hit Mercedes brand lineup in the 1950s, although it didn't actually get its name until the 1970s. It really is the apex of the brand. It really does demonstrate its best in luxury and its best in innovation. And this 7th generation is no different. Looking at the front, first and foremost, a hood ornament. When was the last time you saw a hood ornament on a vehicle? And the three-pointed star, look at it, it's a great sight all the way through. And also, I think the Beastie Boys would be actually pleased in seeking these out. A little bit of wobble there is great. Next up, the high status grille. Look at it, a little bit different from the likes of the AMG grille or their normal grille, but it really does set a precedent or make a statement as to this is a special car, and it really is a special car. LED matrix headlights that really do block out stuff coming your other way and just light up the rest of the world, which is very, very cool. And chrome accents everywhere, down the lower vents, along this lower valance, just chrome. And there's more down the side. Let's go and have a look there. At 5.3 meters long, this is no shrinking violet. It really is a big, expansive luxury vehicle, a luxury saloon, which is what it's supposed to be. It's got a short overhang at the front here, so really has those characteristics there, and a nice sloping back down here, which is actually quite coupe-ish, apart from the fact that there is plenty of room in here. This one's actually 71 millimeters longer in wheelbase, so that actually means that there's a lot more room inside, which Matthew will show you around in a minute. But look at it, it's really expansive. They've got rid of some of the character lines down the side. It's a lot smoother, a lot softer on the eye. And look at this. Pop-out handles, very, very cool. Actually helps with the drag coefficient, which when it's in sport is 0.22. So it actually slides very, very gracefully through. And graceful really does sum up this vehicle. The wheels themselves, 20 inches here. There's more rubber on the front in height than on the rear, but they're wider on the back. Very confusing, but I'm sure you'll work it out. I'll see if I can put the stats down here somewhere. But big, expansive, and again, plenty of chrome, like I said to you before. Really is a very, very good looking vehicle. Let's have a look around the rear. In all honesty, there's not much to say about the rear. Lovely chrome, well, actually more chrome, of course. The boot lid actually has got a little bit of a lip to it, so that would be where the spoiler sort of would be, but it's, you know, it wouldn't be as crass as to have an absolute spoiler stuck on the back here. LED tail lights. The exhaust, again, don't quite meet this surround, but they're sort of thereabouts. It's close, but not quite there. And the rest, a little bit of a lower balance here, or, you know, diffuser or whatever it is. In here, which is actually a kicker, 510 litres, so literally two bodies, or me and Matthew could probably be in both of here actually. Anyway, let's go and look at the business end. Admittedly, I'm about to do something that a Mercedes S-Class owner will probably never do, and that's lift the bonnet. But under here is a 3-litre turbocharged straight six that gives you 270 kilowatts of power, 500 newton meters of torque, plus because it's a 48 volt mild hybrid, you can actually get an extra 16 kilowatts and an extra 250 newton meters of torque in short bursts. So it's quite a little monster out of 6 cylinders. 0 to 100 is in 5.1 seconds. That's this big sedan just shooting off the line from 0 to 100 in 5.1 seconds. And also it sips fuel at a, well, sips as far as it goes, 8.1 litres per 100 kilometres. So actually not bad. It might be 8.2, but who's counting? Speaking of things that are luxurious and actually dressed to the nines, Matthew's inside and he'll show you what's going on in there.
Well, I at least made an effort with this jacket and everything, but still, the car makes me feel underdressed, and I'm not sure very many cars can do that to a person. In terms of dressing, well, certainly the interior of this S-Class is dressed so well. Firstly, the leather, well, there's plenty of it on the top here, nice and soft. The seats, of course, as you can see, incredibly soft Nappa leather. I mean, just I don't even know what to say. There's probably no words in my vocabulary to describe how soft this is. Then there's the pillows on here. I mean, your head could just fall back in there and you never want to get up again. That's how soft they are. Before I move on from the leather, everything, all this stuff, just all covered in leather. It's just incredible. And it's exactly what you want in an S Class. Over here, this wood paneling and the striping and everything, that's meant to mimic a luxury yacht, because why wouldn't it in a Mercedes S Class? Obviously, looking from there, the elephant in the room is this center console, which has a very different style to anything else we've seen from Mercedes-Benz recently. You've got this huge 12.8-inch touchscreen over here, which controls everything with the car, and we'll jump into that in a minute. Behind it, you've got another space for your phone, as you can see my fingers just there. You've got 2 extra phone spaces in the middle with wireless charging, of course. You've got your cup holders there. You've got secretly tucked away USB-C ports in case you're a peasant and your phone doesn't have wireless charging. Down the middle here, of course, some more storage space, and you know, just the air of quality and refinement inside here is just incredible. This is back to basics Mercedes. Everything is so well screwed together. I mean, no amount of effort of mine could shake this up, or pressing all of this, nothing's budging, nothing's squeaking. It's just screwed together so well, frankly, and it's a return to form for Mercedes in that sense, for sure. Well, I've covered the leather, I've covered the wood. Now we have the plastics. The quality of those, again, is frankly second to none. All this piano black plastic here, I mean, it doesn't even attract fingerprints. I don't even know how they've done that. That's so German, but that's really what the S Class has always been. It's been a statement of how much of a flex can Mercedes sort of flex on their opponents, if you like. Speaking of flexes, well, this central touchscreen is full of them, so let's jump in there and take a look. So the screen, well, that's 12.8 inches, and it's something very futuristic and something that we're going to see more on Mercedes' EQ cars, especially in the future. Firstly, profiles. Well, it'll allow you to have, I think, 800 different settings that you can configure to yourself or something like that. And well, the settings, there's no need to log in with a password or anything. That thing right there, that's a fingerprint sensor, and you can set it to your fingerprint, or there is a face recognition feature as well. So very technologically advanced in that sense, though that reminds me a lot of the little trackpad in the middle of a BlackBerry. Anyway, enough of that nostalgia, because everything in here is from the future, basically. So the layout very much sort of mimicking a phone, if you like. You got that home button in the middle, and if you just saw, as I bring my hand closer, the little features sort of light up and do weird things. In terms of the features, well, you've got your standard layout, and if you've got the navigation on, as we do over here, you'll see it in the background just over there. So navigation, phone, radio, those are all the standard things. But once you swipe to the second page, well, comfort, the little lotus, that's where you want to click into, because this S Class is just all about that. So firstly, the seats, of course, they have a massage feature. I don't know how many configurations that has. Of course, it has heated massage knuckle things. It's got ventilation, it's got heating and cooling. You've got like a billion different massage functions, and when you go into the seats, you can adjust them like 100 different ways. Even the lumbar, the side supports, the calf support, the ankles, whatever you want, frankly, it's all there for you, and all in a way to really make you comfortable and support your back. The ambient lighting, I think in total there's something like 64 different colors that you can have. So I mean, you can really go crazy with the slider over here and tune it to your liking. Right now we have it in red, and I mean, the lighting is just everywhere, all along the dashboard there, down the sides, in the floor, down the back as well. It's just incredible, and it means the cabin just looks so good at night, which we'll show you now. Of course, as part of Mercedes' new more premium sort of editions, you get the energizing comfort setting. So depending on what you're feeling, you can click on one of these, so refreshment, warmth, joy, all that stuff, and it'll change the cabin colors, it'll change the audio, it'll change the sort of look and feel of the cabin just to make you feel whatever setting you just clicked into. I've been with Dave a bit too much today, so I probably need a bit of joy, so let's try that. As you could hear from that, this tune then goes through the optional 30 speaker Burmester audio system in this car, which has something like 1500 watts of power. So just like the engine, it's never missing for power, and certainly anything you like, frankly, you can play it in here and it'll feel like you're in a concert with that band or with that musical act. That instrument cluster there, that's pretty special, so let's take a look at that. Firstly, in front of you, you get this nice big steering wheel covered in leather, of course, lovely and soft. And it's got this weird sort of biplane kind of look to it. So you get two spokes on either side there and aluminium pedals right behind it. And of course, these big stalks also tipped in aluminium. So lovely feeling over there. In front of you, well, the dials, this is where the key change has been. They've got a real 3D sort of effect to them. So this one is in the minimalistic mode, so it looks like the gauge is actually floating. And the background there is of the stars or of Aurora Borealis or something like that. And if you want to change that, then you press the home button on the right side there, and it gives you the different options. So we've got understated, we've got sport, exclusive, classic, navigation, assistance, and then service. Now if I click into sport, well, get ready because you're about to have a headache. Click into that and you get a real 3D sort of look to it. It looks like the gauges have immense amount of depth to them and everything sort of is floating. I can understand how somebody like me with a little bit of motion sickness could probably get triggered by this quite easily, but that's sort of the humor of it. Exclusive, well, that feels like really premium, silver, all that sort of stuff, the kind of layout you'd want in a car like this. And you also get classic, of course, the typical Mercedes-Benz style there. Lastly, the navigation one. That's also another 3D mode, and it shows your car in a sort of weird digital world there. You can see a little S Class down there, and it tells you where you are relative to the city you're in. Kind of cool too. And again, of course, 3D, because you'd expect nothing else in a car like this. Speaking of plenty going on, well, there's a heap of stuff to talk about with the back seats, so let's jump in there and look at how things are. Well, I'm not even sure if you can see me because of how far back I am. And I mean, just talking about and showing my hand actions or for the leg room and all that stuff would just be stupid in this car, because just look at how much space is around me. I'll indulge you anyway. There you go. Look how much knee room I have. Foot room, there's a ton there. And headroom, I mean, just amazing. To be specific, I think it has something like 110 millimeters of foot room there. So, you know, even if your feet are size 20 or whatever, you'll still be able to fit in this car quite comfortably. Speaking of comfortable, well, that's exactly what I am over here. The seats are just so soft. These pillows at the back here, I mean, you could just go to sleep. And I think Dave was actually asleep in here. And if you really want to get comfortable and get to sleep, you can actually recline these seats. So the controls over here, you can push the seat back, you can move your lumbar support, you can move the headrest, because of course there's no reason to, but there's perfect reason to, because this is a Mercedes-Benz S Class. So it's not that you can just move the seats. Well, there's also memory functions there, so it remembers, you know, your different configurations and all that sort of stuff. Looking on the door, you have controls for both the windows on either side. So if I want to put down the left side window, I can. I can also put up the blind on this side if I want to. I can also put down the blind, all that sort of stuff. I can even put down the rear blind over there. So the amount of control you have from the back here is just immense. Down the middle here, lower the armrest and you have some more wood and chrome trim and of course soft leather. pull this out and it seems like something is missing there, and it is, because there is an option to have a screen over here to control some more things, because of course you would want that. Do that and you've got very premium looking cup holders with these little steps down the bottom. And then once you collapse that, you've got space for your phone there, and of course some more space, including charging ports for a phone in there. So there's, as you've seen, there's a lot to talk about with the interior of this car, and as I've just done, but there's even so much more to talk about with the drive, so let's do exactly that.
Look, in all honesty, I always feel somewhat sort of out of place in something so luxurious. Been inside some Rolls Royces and stuff like that, and I'm more crass than a vehicle like this should have somebody like me in it. Even though I am English, so I should have, part royalty and stuff like that. But it's just so smooth, it's so luxurious, and it really does cater to your every whim. And, 7th generations, can't get it wrong. It just gets it better and better and better. This vehicle is amazing.
I've got to say, I don't know why Dave's shouting in here, frankly, but actually he's not shouting at all. It's just this cabin is so incredibly quiet, and it's mind-boggling. We were going over some rougher roads in the motorway earlier, and you can't hear the tires, you can't hear the engine.
Actually, I have a trick just for that. Watch, I have a decibel meter. Oh yes, bring on the nerdness.
Now if Dave would just shut up for a minute, then we could see really how quiet it is. Look at that, it sort of peaked at about 23 decibels, so it is extremely quiet there.
It is extremely quiet, and that's really because the attention to detail with Mercedes, they've plugged up every single hole, every orifice, and given it double glazing, and the sound deadening is just immense. You really are removed from the outside world, and I couldn't think of a better place to be really for that.
That's true, actually. You can barely hear the pitter-patter of the rain, and all the world sort of just disappears away, and all you can hear is your own brilliance, frankly.
My own mind ticking over. What a horrible thought.
In fact, this car is so German that when we opened up the bonnet earlier, as Dave was saying, as a Mercedes S Class owner will never do, but we did it anyway. And when we looked inside the engine bay, actually, there's all sorts of MVH and sound deadening material tucked in all the sort of corners and everything. So not even, a little whine of a turbocharger, you just can't hear any of that.
No, the only whining is me, the fact that I can't afford this vehicle. Let's get the necessities out the way, and I shouldn't really have to say it, but when it comes to comfort, the space and room you've got in this vehicle, not that if you, well, really I should be in the back and you should be driving this or something, but you really are. There's every single manipulation, as Matthew said, about the seat as to where you can sit. If you can't get comfortable in this car, there's something wrong with you. It's not the car. There's every sort of movement and every heated thing, and when you use the massage functions and the heated thing, or if you're too hot, cool it down, or literally it's mind-blowing how many different comfort levels and settings that you can get the steering wheel and everything in.
Absolutely. As I said earlier, in terms of the setting up your own personal profile, I think you can have something like 800 different combinations of settings. It's some sort of crazy figure like that, and everything in this car, frankly, is adjustable to your need and your taste. Not just the seat comfort, I mean the color, the sound, whatever you wanted, frankly, this car, there's some sort of function for it.
When it comes to the heated seat, when you put the heated seats on, this armrest goes on and heated. This armrest on the side goes on and heated. Who needs your heated armrest? And your steering wheel. Everything gets heated up. Your bum, your arms, and your fingers. Amazing. And when it comes to sight, all you have to do is look. This is amazing. All you have to do is look at the wing mirrors, and then it automatically knows that you're looking at it, and then you can adjust it up, down, sideways, whichever way you look at it. It knows where you're going. That's the coolest thing. Either side, you just put it in and away you go. If I'm looking this side, it does it. If I'm looking that side, it recognizes me. It's got more recognition of me than my son does. It's amazing.
Well, that's frankly just what the S Class does, because it's a way for Mercedes just to show how Mercedes they are, and they've always used the S Class to push the limits of innovation and genuine sort of technology in cars. I mean, usually tech that you see in a Mercedes-Benz from 10 years ago, sorry, in a Mercedes-Benz S Class from 10 years ago, that's the kind of tech you'll find in modern cars these days. So it just shows how far ahead of everything else the S Class has always been in terms of that innovation and that technology.
But it's also so simple to use. It's very intuitive. You can flick through stuff. If you can manage your iPhone or your normal Android phone, you can manage the stuff here. It really does flick through, but the menus are just so intricate. You can really personalize absolutely everything. But you can also bow back out in true Mercedes form and just use stuff how you want to use it. So you can jump in and drive, or you can just get it to, I don't know, measure your trouser leg length or something. It's amazing. Drivability wise, it's smooth as silk. You're like riding on just I'm not going to use the magic carpet thing because that's another brand's one, but it just is so smooth. And the power, when you just stamp on it, it picks up really quickly, but it's not thrusting you back. It's just all of a sudden you're in treble digits like magic. It's just there. And it is quick. You know, just over 5 seconds is fast for this size of a vehicle, but you just don't feel it. All of a sudden you're just there. You look down and your license is gone.
And I mean, when you do put your foot down, the car will push you back into your seat, but then you get a chance to explore those soft cushions and the Nappa leather and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, that's probably the place you want to be, pushed back into the seat where you can enjoy the maximum comfort there is. It's not just all about the comfort either. This car is, of course, incredibly safe. And again, Mercedes has always used the S Class to push the boundaries of safety technology. So night vision, all that sort of stuff came from the S Class of 10 years ago. And with this S Class, I mean, the cameras, the collision mitigation systems, all that stuff are just, I think, state of the art would probably be calling it an understatement. And one of the major talking points of this car is the fact that even the backseat passengers have frontal airbags, and I think that's something I've never seen in a car before. So that's just, you know, what the S Class does is so many things that you would have never seen in a car before.
The other stuff we'll go through now is the augmented reality as far as the navigation goes. So of course you can use the navigation stuff to get where you want to do, or just use the second generation MBUX system that's in here and get them to take you to it. So, hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
Navigate to Silverdale.
I am calculating the route.
And if you actually notice while Dave was talking to the MBUX assistant, that the LED lights on his side sort of buzzed and did weird motions, and if I talk to the MBUX system, then the light on my side will do the same thing. So it's pretty interesting that they've done that.
So what you'll see is, look, the arrows are coming up as to which way we're going, and it's telling us to go right, and then look, the screen's coming up, hopefully you can see this, and the road name's coming up. So as we go right, it will just superimpose everything through, and there you go. We've taken a right thanks to augmented reality. I just love it. So how cool is that? The other thing is these screens, this just instrument cluster screen, which is so, again, personalizable. Okay, so fingers crossed you can see this three-dimensional layout here that's just opening up the world in front of you in, I don't know, remember those old, shows you how old I am, these three-dimensional postcards that used to have a look, you could look and see the world behind. Anyway, moving forward, you click through, you can go through to, as Matthew showed you, just all these different, look at this, it shows me where I am on the road. Hopefully I am on the road, but how cool is that? Back to what I've got as the default, which is when you speed up, it all comes towards you. Oh, it's so confusing and so great. This one's really cool. Hopefully you can see this. there's a little ball in the front that when you put your foot down, it rolls back towards you to show you then when it goes red that you're not doing eco mode, or if you brake suddenly it rolls forward. So the whole idea is that you keep the ball in the middle of the screen. It's the funniest thing. It's so distracting, but it is so cool. I think if you hit something, then the ball's going to go straight into the other thing and then the airbag will go off. But it's so much fun to try to keep this ball sitting right in the middle or coming right back. Oh. Or right back. Just makes me laugh. Things you do, right, to keep you entertained. Love it. It's just so cool. And the head-up display will actually have that augmented reality as well as an option.
Frankly, the heads-up display and even the augmented reality in the central screen reminds me of video games. Directional arrows showing you where to go and all that sort of stuff, and the car in a virtual setting. Oh man, it's just amazing. Well, as you can see from the green color at the back over there, it's time to go. And I mean, what a wild ride this S Class has been.
Oh, look, it's so luxurious, so amazing. You're probably going to jump in the back now while I just drive you somewhere. It'd be amazing. But it's got every... I mean, it's better equipped than my house and by far and far more technologically advanced. It's also very, very renewable. There's 140 different parts that are renewable. They've got the attention to detail as far as the recycling parts and the natural resources they're using for it. It really is kind of, you'll see this again and again. When it finally gives up its life, it will turn up into your couch or something like that. Even the carpets are made of this sort of nylon-y stuff that's all renewable. It's amazing. I expect to see this again and again.
And of course, it's perfect to use and would fit any other Mercedes in their lineup.
Yeah, and speaking of things we need to see again and again, I want to see you guys again and again on our next video. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
Make sure you subscribe.